Yeah, and I think what we've seen in this tournament is with the lack of range, that battleship position you're describing there on Team 2 is almost stronger, right? Because the other team can't sit up on the other side of Theta, in the D5 Echo 4 region and trade across the map anymore. They've got to move up to that ramp next to Theta, onto Theta, and I don't think that's as strong of a position for Team 1. So JGX, they've got to figure out exactly what they want to do here. That being said, we have seen some teams go with a little more of an aggressive cap move. Obviously, in stock mode, we've talked about it throughout the semifinals. It's a slower game. Caps become a little bit more important, but I don't think you're going to see too much out of either of these teams when it comes to a cap strat.
We have been traditionally, cap aside was just meant for light play, and I think a lot of that was because of the long range trades all the way across the map. I wouldn't be surprised to see JGX coming with something strong up that left side, realizing that they really have to surround Imperial, get them controlled, and then somehow take Kappa from them if they have any chance of surviving. But it's all going to come down to this initial cap on Theta. Stimrog in that Spider 5V, as we know, has a built-in cap accelerator. He's going to be able to take that almost instantly here.
And we've seen that Spider 5V used very effective.
Got hit.
A nice shot to prevent it by JGX, but that Spider with the cap accelerator, it can take these contested points a little easier, and it's a good weapon.
He wasn't able to do it though. So JGX, realizing the importance of Theta, he did end up getting it, but he had to get hit a lot, down to 91%. But we are seeing some LRMs on the field here. Imperial with a Stalker 3F, a lot of pinpoint damage there though, with those large lasers and medium lasers stacked up, and they're trying to control Epsilon's side. It did fall to JGX, but they were able to get some scratch in.
And I'm really surprised both teams making a play kind of towards the Epsilon corner. Didn't really expect that out of these teams, but Imperial setting up in the junkyard. They have a Jaeger mech, AC5 Jaeger mech. Let's take a peek at his weaponry. He's running 2 AC2s, 2 AC5s. That's a stock Jaeger mech. Of course, this is stock mode. Very good long-range pinpoint damage, but at the same time, not a lot of armor on that Jaeger mech. He's got to be careful there. That's File Titan.
Yeah, he's playing very far back. Looks like he's actually starting to roll back around the corner here. But they do have these LRMs in play, and they're getting locks on those light mechs. The Javelin down to 57%, the Wolfhound down to 74%. But we've got a play over Theta here with the lights for Imperial pushing hard around Theta and just trying to route JGX into the corner. A nice strike across Selith there in that Wolfhound, but they are working on the opposite Wolfhound. He's got a 4P up there with him, but he's tucked up against the corner, down to 67%. That Hunchback just trying to buy him time, but we have a strike coming in. Not sure which strike. 2 strikes. This is going to hurt.
Nice dodge by the Wolfhound there for Imperial, but he's taking a lot of damage. Selith, traditionally the drop caller for Imperial. And look at the LRMs on this field. Highlander, Hunchback, Instalker, all running LRMs.
They cut Selith in half. He's down to 3 medium lasers. His opposite shoulder is extremely hurt. Only take a couple shots to take that out. But 3 cap rolling for Imperial, but it's very early game. Anything can happen here. In terms of percents, though, JGX seems to be shredding some armor here, but they actually have pushed up to Theta, and they might be able to control it. It's going to be a very difficult cap, and we actually have Imperial fanning out. I think they're going to try and prevent any sort of cap on Theta. Well, looks like they're getting away with it. That Hunchback playing tight to the corner, and he's about to flip it over.
By that Hunchback, and Imperial's lights kind of gave up Theta there. They do
lot
have
of
a
mechs
slight
on this
cap
corner.
advantage, but if you look at the mechs in this corner, Spider 5V going up, dropping a UAV, that's really good for the amount of LRMs on the field here. But
even with
can JGX tuck around this corner and prevent taking damage from that?
Even with the without the LRMs in play, having that vision of these mechs, every time they peek, you can pre-fire them and essentially get your shot in before they even have the opportunity to silhouette themselves. A big strike here. This could hurt. I think they saw the smoke and made the call. The Annihilator's not going to be able to get out of the way. He's too slow, but that was spread out. 10% damage from that strike. But they're playing that corner hard. They're really trying to turn Imperial's corner, and now a 4 cap for JGX is going to start those tickets rolling. I think Imperial's going to have to make a move here.
Yeah, it's time to get that Spider put to work with what he should be doing, getting those cap points.
Getting Theta and Kappa is huge for JGX, but they are paying in terms of damage. If Imperial decides to get aggressive here, they might be able to clean up before it matters. More strikes going out. That Wolfhound down to 31%, and that one definitely hurt. He's legged now and one shot on his opposite leg. That's gonna hurt for JGX.
Yeah, but this is a critical point for Imperial right now. They are down 4 cap. They can't let this get out of hand too quickly. They're going to start bleeding caps very fast, and if they aren't able to flip one of the 2 of these caps quickly, they're going to be in a world of trouble, even if they are winning the trades.
We're seeing a lot more artillery strikes in use now. I think part of that being the emphasis on the cap game. We might have a light fight over cap, but this is going to be critical for JGX to win this fight, or at least keep those mechs off of Kappa, because if they can hold this 4 cap, even if they lose their main body, as long as they keep their lights, looks like we have a kill. Stalker for Imperial taking down the Banshee on that hard corner.
LRM fire there on the corner.
All these strikes going back and forth, the LRM fire and just this general softening up of each other is going to end up in a big push. But we have 3 Imperial mechs now jumping on those 2 JGX mechs. And Charlemagne gets taken down by Dario in that Locust. Kill. That is a big pickup, evening it up 2 and 2. And they take out the JGX Javelin. Now it's 2 Imperial mechs against a relatively fresh Locust here. Seleth down to 37%. And he gets taken down 1v1. Spider
Imperial
versus Locust.
They are pushing with the Stalker and the Highlander around Epsilon corner. This Highlander does have LRMs, but he has also got an AC-20 on here that's going to come to bear.
I think that it might be too late, especially with that light fight not successful over Kappa. That's a big pickup for JGX. This fight has to be cleaned up very quick if Imperial has any hope of flipping these caps back. But JGX with a very critical victory over Kappa, and now they just need to delay. Hold out, and they can take game 1 over Imperial. Theta is getting flipped, but we're 200 tickets to go. It's not over yet, though. That Spider did not stick around.
They need to go stand on Epsilon with all 3 mechs here. And the Highlander's going the other way. He's not going to make it to another cap point in time. They need to flip Epsilon as quickly as they can.
He's trying to get his LRMs to bear, taking out that Wolfhound. They are going to be able to flip Theta. Crass in that legged Wolfhound able to delay Theta just a little bit longer, which might have been enough to help out. But now they're flipping back. 2 caps to go. It's not over yet. They do still have a Spider on the field. He's breaking off to Gamma. Only 1 mech left in that Locust. He's going to try a back cap on Sigma. The only light on the field is that Spider. Now, he can flip Gamma extremely fast. It's 100 tickets left, less than that, 90 tickets left. If he can secure Sigma, I think he can secure the win for his team.
He can secure Sigma. That's the big one. It doesn't look like Imperial is moving anyone to Sigma at this point. Like to see this Hunchback moving that direction. He is going to get there, but I don't think he's going to... no, he is headed to Kappa.
Yep. I think this one's going to end up with the single Locust remaining. Dario in the Locust, flipping Sigma with Kappa up. That's going to be game right there.
Yeah.
Well played, JGX, taking drop 1. Combination of just beat him down on the corner, delay, and then winning that key light fight on Kappa. It came down to just Spider versus Locust, and that Spider, as we know, it has the ability to flip caps incredibly quickly, but its weakness is its firepower. Just 2 medium lasers isn't enough to get the job done. Dario with the full cap on Kappa. They might send the Spider straight there, but all he has to do is get a single shot on to secure the win for JGX.
Wow, I am honestly a little surprised at the positioning that Imperial took on that. They basically spent the majority of that battle fighting, 4 or 5 mechs, the majority of main body for JGX at Epsilon corner, and they were all backed up around that corner. We're used to seeing Imperial spread out, take angles, and take cover away. They really didn't do that, and it allowed both Theta and Epsilon to be held by JGX for long enough, like you said. Didn't win the trades, delayed long enough, and that fight over Kappa wins it for JGX.
Chimera in that Stalker racking up 817 damage. I'm wondering how much of that is just a well-placed strike on those 4 mechs. JGX with a very difficult position behind that pillar. It was prone to strikes, and we saw a lot of successful strikes on that position. strikes in this game, they can be very powerful. A lot of that is you allowing yourself to get struck out in a big pack like that, and there was just a lot of damage being dealt out to JGX. But the thing that stuck out to me the most here is we've seen Imperial get aggressive when they need to in the past and do it very well. I was thinking Imperial was going to be pushing hard a minute before they did. Like, I was very surprised that it took them that long to clean up. And when they pushed, they cleaned up JGX very quickly. They softened them up. JGX was not winning the trades. They were not winning the damage war. And once Imperial saw that they were down on caps, I expected them to get the job done a lot sooner. But I think Imperial thought that they might have been able, with a 3v2 advantage on Kappa, I think they thought they'd be able to clean that up quicker and make some very key plays over there. But those JGX lights, especially Dario and that Locust, managing to not only stay alive, but stay alive with a lot of health left. That was an incredibly important fight. The lights really made that one happen, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Dario with the key play there. I think you could easily sit down and say he was the MVP for JGX on that match. And they're getting off on the right foot, right? You're going up against the two-time defending champion. We talked about there was some roster turnover, but it's still EMP. You want to come out and win that first one. You don't have to come from behind in this best-of-3 round here. Now they have the ability, if they win this next one, they're in. And even if they lose, they still got a little bit of margin. But Dario, huge play in that Locust. Absolutely turned the game around, I think, and wins it for them, getting those back caps as well. Grabbing Sigma, like you said, that was game over at that point.
I mean, we saw a lot of really good gameplay there out of JGX. That lagged Wolfhound, the fact that he was lagged, getting struck out, getting hit hard on Theta, that was pretty rough. But even in his handicapped state, managing to hold off 2 Imperial mechs from Theta just that much longer. Now, it didn't come down to like a really close set on the caps, but taking Theta away that early in the match could have bought Imperial enough time to spread out and flip, especially with that spider on the field. He can get those caps turned incredibly quick. And it could have come down with just that one Locust remaining if they were able to converge their forces up on Sigma. It might have been enough to buy them enough time to suppress that Locust, get that last point flipped, and come away with the win. But all over the field, we were seeing a lot of good, solid gameplay. JGX, they were losing armor, but they weren't getting taken out. I think it was the Highlander went down first. That was really late in the match. Banshee went down. It was really late in the match when he got taken down. Just even packed up behind a single pillar like that, you expected them to just start dropping like flies. It took a while for those guys to get taken down. Both sides, though, playing really well. I think this came down to 2 major factors, though. Imperial not getting aggressive early enough, and the light fight on Kappa not going in Imperial's way.
Yeah, and I think it really, you'd like to see Imperial get aggressive, but they're probably thinking 3 mechs on 2 at Kappa. They got to win that. But it quickly became a 2-on-2 with Dario coming in there, helping out. And Dario, like you said, clutch play, won that game. That's the difference right there. I mean, they could have been aggressive earlier. I think they could have positioned better than where they did. I really don't like that Sigma Epsilon line setup that they had. Now, they kept JGX, pinned behind one corner, but JGX was also behind that corner and could stay alive for longer. You spread out some, say even make a little push towards Theta, and now you control Theta, and you've taken away some of the angles of the main body at Epsilon, but they never really made a move. I kept expecting them to make a move, and like you said, it felt like they should have pushed maybe a minute earlier, and they really didn't.
Just looking at the map, I mean, we had that Epsilon side that got up really close. A large majority of those JGX mechs, 4 of them in fact, behind that single pillar there in D5, trading into a pretty spread out, I shouldn't say it's spread out, but a more spread out Imperial team. We had little micro fights over Theta, the Hunchback up there backing up his Wolfhound. Just seeing that Wolfhound pressing up against the wall in dire straits, and that Hunchback stepping up and using his armor to protect that Wolfhound. They were like shoulder to shoulder, but the Hunchback with enough firepower to punish anyone that peeks. I think it was a Wolfhound on the opposite side trying to finish the job on the other Wolfhound, couldn't peek that corner well enough without getting punished by the Hunchback.
Yep.
So really some great even duo team play there. The Hunchback protecting the Wolfhound, and that Wolfhound making some key plays at the end. That could have gone very differently early on if that Wolfhound was taken out a lot sooner.
Yeah, and I think we've seen that a lot in these semifinals. Teams are kind of figuring out what mechs work well for them, and one of the roles we've seen work very well is a Hunchback, kind of in that cap denial, light support role, right? You know, the lights start engaging, and then a little while later, because it is slower, here comes the Hunchback with the firepower that those things carry with all those medium lasers, and that kind of pinpoint damage really helps out in a light fight. And you park that guy on Theta, and he can do a lot of work if that's his role. And you assign the Hunchback that role, you know, stay here, help out the lights, defend this cap, you know, help capture this cap, and it's a very valuable mech in doing so.
And things in this match can happen in waves. You know, you make an impact early on, it can make a huge difference later in the match. Even down to, like, we saw the early shots in on that Spider trying to get Theta. They were able to deny it just a little bit, but even that can make a big impact later in the match. Kind of the butterfly effect. But we are over on Caustic now. EmpyreaL making the choice, and we saw EmpyreaL bringing some heavy LRMs on Caustic in the past. Let's have to see if they do that again, and how JGX is going to attempt to counter it. But it always starts with that initial exchange over Theta. We'll have to see how that goes. They do have the Spider on the field again, and it looks like Dario in the Locust is going to go and try and challenge him.
We have Gamma.
There's the Spider, and that's such a quick cap on Theta. That's a valuable weapon, but EMP really didn't use it as effectively as they would have liked last round. Let's see if they can kind of turn that around here.
So Theta
like
did switch to EmpyreaL, but Dario able to get some scratch in there.
I like the Marauder, and JGX brought it on Canyon as well, but I'm not sure I like it as much on Caustic with those low-mounted PPCs.
There is an Archer on the field for EmpyreaL, those two LRM-20 racks. That's going to be a lot of LRMs. The Annihilator on the field is AC-10s, 4 AC-10s. A lot of pinpoint kind of DACA fire there.
Yeah, that's a good mech for this map.
And they do have a Highlander with an LRM-20, SRM-6, AC-20, 2 mediums. We saw him in the last drop as well. But it seems like JGX focusing a lot more on the pinpoint, especially with that Marauder NRG.
Yeah, and I think EmpyreaL with the LRMs.
Uh-oh, you got something happening on the
good
left
about
here.
their trades, I think, but didn't make the right moves when it came to the cap strat.
Looks like Stimrog was thinking about swinging for Sigma there, but a UAV goes up for the Locust, just kind of denying the ability for that Spider to cleanly run to back cap Sigma. But in terms of firepower here, JGX has a great presence, and they're actually sending Dario to Theta here. We'll have to see if the Locust is able to get the denial, but this is going to be a big pickup for JGX.
Does turn it. No response. Finally, a shot in on Dario to stop that cap at Theta. And we're going to see a little, and they're about to flip it if they can't get some fire on them. We need to see a little more response out of EMP, I think, for that. They allow Theta to get taken.
Gogil in the Javelin here, just preventing a back cap here. He knows that Spider's there. The Spider, we saw him over there before. This Spider using this to get locks for his team. Oh, a huge strike there, ripping open the back armor of Stimrog in that Spider, but he's getting the locks for his team, and they're just trying to deny that. Those LRMs coming in strong now. That is a problem. They used that last time we saw EmpyreaL on this map. The Spider up on that high position, able to secure some big locks. But then we also have a back cap attempt here. JGX sending their Wolfhound around to Gamma. That's going to be a big pickup.
Going to let them get a 4 cap again.
Well, a lot more LRMs making contact on that Annihilator. He has a long way to go to be able to break the lock here. Looks like he's finally getting around the corner, but those LRMs just continuously pounding that slow. His leg is open. If you think that guy's not slow enough, take off an Annihilator's leg and you'll see how slow he can get. They are
yeah,
preventing anything from happening at Sigma, and now we got the back cap on Gamma, but a lot of damage coming in from Imperial to JGX, but really only on a couple key mechs here. I don't think Imperial could get away with a huge push just yet, but they're gonna need to. They're gonna have to push with this 4 cap against them.
Yeah, once again, Imperial not playing the caps very well. Like we talked about, giving up Theta, not a lot of aggression to try and prevent Theta from being capped, and now you're in a position where you're 4 capped again.
This Marauder ducking around the corner.
The 4 cap stay up for so long.
A lot of LRMs coming in, and then just takes a step back and avoids it. JGX avoiding and nullifying the LRMs very well, really showing the disadvantage to that weapon system, using whatever cover they have to break the locks, using whatever cover they have to break those incoming
and
missiles.
Zealous just gets pounded trying to take Theta. JGX was
nasty peek there
for him.
That 4P just paid for that peek, though. Taking him a while to get around the corner, and he got ripped up. His shoulder's still there, though. He still has a majority of his weapons, but his leg is open, and he is in dire straits as well. I would not be surprised to see some big aggression here from Imperial, though. They're starting to softening up JGX, but with the 4 cap against them, tickets now in favor of JGX, it might be too late.
And finally making a move on Theta. They need to get more than 1 mech on Theta.
They're sending a Locust back towards Gamma.
Get it as quickly as possible.
At this point, JGX just trying to buy time, keep their lights alive. They did lose Theta. Banshee for JGX goes down. And I think we're going to see a big full W here out of Imperial. They need to clean up
for it. They've got to go.
They need to clean up main body quickly, and they need to start flipping caps back. But we do have a back cap heading to Epsilon. They're going to try and bring it back to a 4 cap. This Annihilator getting pounded. But the opposite Annihilator does go down. He was softened up early on by all that LRM fire. Not before getting some good shots in on Bowser, opening him up center torso. Pasha and the Black Knight getting pushed by the Highlander. He gets taken down. Epsilon is being flipped over for JGX, though. They're keeping that rotation, trying to stay ahead of the curve here. JGX's main body is starting to fall apart to this push, but the longer they stay alive, they might still be able to ride these tickets. 3 cap currently for Imperial, but it's flipping back to 3 for JGX. That's going to be a big pickup, especially ahead 200 tickets.
Theta as well. Imperial right now just getting outplayed when it comes to light movement.
So he got interrupted before he could flip it, but he nullified it, buying that much more time for his team. Another strike coming in.
Annihilator.
Crash just trying to slow them down as much as possible. Sigma now being flipped. Looks like the Marauder is going to fall. He's got 3 mechs on him. The 4J imminent sitting on the cap, which is going to be a big pickup for Imperial. But Gamma and Epsilon both controlled by JGX. And I believe at this point, Imperial needs a 4 cap to win this. So if they can hold Gamma and Epsilon for as long as possible, that's going to be big.
Get this Wolfhound down. Get him off the field.
Imminent stepping off of Sigma before fully capping it. He's trying to take this Marauder down, but he needs to get Sigma fully capped. I think
Spider's still on the field for Imperial will help, but again, light play, not where we're used to seeing it out of Imperial.
Crass and the Locust here surrounding the Wolfhound, trying to take Self out. The Wolfhound is legged. He's going to be dead in the water, but Dario and the Locust trying to prevent a cap on Epsilon. Spider is slipping around behind, but Dario sees him, and he's going to chase him down.
Crass just killed the Wolfhound, and the Archer, that is File Titan, walked right by him, 100 meters away, never looked at him, and just let him kill the Wolfhound, and he's just ignoring him now. I mean, even if he's out of ammo, he should have medium lasers on that. I guess he's going for the cap point, but man, just take a shot while you're walking.
Javelin here with an Archer and a Locust, and then, of course, that legged Wolfhound. He's just going to try and delay the cap here as long as humanly possible. Chimera in the Stalker for Imperial takes out that Marauder finally. But Gogil just trying to slow it down. I don't think it is. 2 caps to 2 caps. And almost less than 50 tickets to go here. This is going to turn out to be a 2-0 upset. JGX taking Imperial. They're not out of it yet, but that means JGX is going to go to MechCon.
Wow. that was not the Imperial we're used to seeing. If you ask me, poor play across the board, really, especially on those light pilots. And the Imperial's got to figure that out better. But even the drop calling, they have to be aware of the tickets and know what they're doing and the time it relates. I mean, this is just this is a big upset. I mean, JGX is a good team. We're not used to seeing this out of Imperial.
File Titan finally picking up the leg on that Javelin. He should be able to finish him off, but too little too late. 7 tickets remaining. And that's going to turn out to be a JGX 2-0 victory.
JGX punches the ticket to MechCon. Congrats to them. What a play. They knew what they wanted to do. They came out and they executed it perfectly. And the lights, once again, JGX just doing work. Dario in that Locust alive again. 149 damage. You're not going to write home about that. But the cap control is what matters. That's what wins it for them.
Once again, the push from EmpyreaL, I think, coming just a little bit too late.
Yeah.
Man,
you got to wonder how much experience plays into that, though. We talked about it in the semifinals. Stock mechs are slower. You need to do things earlier than what you're used to. If this wasn't stock mechs and they were running clan mechs or even just, interfere mechs, you typically put a bigger engine in them. They move faster. I think if this was just a standard comp match, EmpyreaL wins both of those because the mechs are faster. You can neutralize caps later in the game. You can't do that. And in the semifinals, EmpyreaL only played one match. They only played one round up before this one. You got to wonder, is that an experience thing?
Yeah, I mean, it's just the light play from JGX, fantastic. There's a lot to digest here. I mean, let's go straight to the map. Just a reminder, giveaway is going to be at the end of this stream, and it is based on participation in the chat. So if you want a chance to win a mech pack, get hyped up in the chat, especially for this match you just saw. I don't think anybody can argue that we consider that an upset with EmpyreaL, two-time grand champions, world champions, getting taken down here. And as we said, though, it is a very different roster. They're still under the same flag, very different roster, though. And we even saw early on EmpyreaL not as strong as they were in the last 2 years here, but JGX coming out strong, not even in a 2-1, but 2-0, knocking EmpyreaL down into the losers bracket.
Yeah, and I think in both of those matches, it played out the same way. It felt like EmpyreaL was doing more damage. They were getting better trades, but they never had map control. We're so used to seeing map control out of EmpyreaL, and admittedly with long-range, ERPPCs, Gauss rifles, those sort of things, but still, we're used to seeing the positioning, the map control, not only winning the trades, but just kind of boxing the other team up into a corner, taking away angles, taking away portions of the map until it's basically hopeless. And instead we see like trading, they're both shooting back and forth at each other, getting good peaks. We still see that, but it never felt like they were really in control. And JGX, the whole time they're doing that, they're sending lights in the backfield, they're back capping Gamma, they're sending mechs to Epsilon, and it never felt like EmpyreaL had the advantage in the map, in the caps. And JGX, they're here to play, and they're going to be punching. They're the first team to punch their ticket to Vancouver. And you know what? I think this is their statement saying, we're not just a top 3 team, we think we can win it.
Exactly. So they did a great job controlling, preventing any sort of back cap of Sigma from the Spider. But the big thing is that Spider getting up into that Echo 6 hill there. He's got jump jets. He can get high. He can get locks. They did a good job suppressing him. He was able to get a lot of that damage from the LRMs in on JGX, but JGX using their cover very well. The only one that really got punished the most by that was that Annihilator, who took forever to back up around just that little hill there and get around the corner to break the lock. So the Spider got a lot of that damage in, but they were able to get him off of that hill, and that whole time that Spider's not getting any sort of caps in there. And of course they sent their guy around to Gamma backside. They didn't have an answer for that. They didn't have their lights in play there.
Yeah, and I'd like to question that play too, right? I mean, the Spider, it's fast, it's little, you can get locks, but so's the Locust. And the Spider has a cap accelerator quirk. Use the Spider to do its job. It has a cap accelerator quirk. You need caps. You need to maintain the cap at least even with the other team. That Spider shouldn't be the one up on the hill getting locks. That's just, in my opinion, that's a misplay. It's not the right mech for it. You need to at least maintain, if not try and take the lead in cap points. And I don't agree with the light play kind of across the board for what EMP did. That's surprising to me. I'm not used to that out of EMP, but frankly, they got outplayed.
Devil's advocate, I mean, the positive of using the spider for that role, it's one of the, I think it's the only mech really that can get up that high to use that key position. If they're gonna bank everything on that spider getting the locks and them putting the damage down to clean up main body fast, they need to be aggressive sooner. They need to clean up and rely on their shooters to get the job done. They got a lot of LRM boats on the field, but they also have a decent amount of pinpoint, or at least some front-loaded damage available. They're trying to soften up. They're playing for the long game, but they don't have the caps to play for a long game. They don't have their light mechs in the backfield like Gamma preventing the back cap. They had them up front, most likely trying to get locks. So EmpyreaL trying their best to put out as much damage as possible, wear them down for the ultimate push, and then of course the spread out and win, but not getting the damage they needed when they needed it the most to be able to push early, to be able to clean up. I mean, when JGX has a bunch of mechs over 80%, and you're at the point where you have no choice but to push or lose, you've got a bunch of LRM boats. That push is going to be a lot harder to pull off. Now, both matches, first drop and second drop, were able to kill the entire main body for JGX, but at that point, the damage was done. JGX up 200 tickets with a 4 cap rolling in their favor, and these mechs are just too slow to be able to spread out. And JGX doing a fantastic job protecting the points they had. And, you know, we saw, I think, Imminent come off of Sigma to try and finish off the Marauder. In that instance, I kind of realized EmpyreaL didn't care about their own tickets. They cared about finishing off and neutralizing. If they flipped everything yellow, they would have been able to clean up. But that involves killing those last few lights, and they just did not have the mechs needed to be able to finish off those last couple lights. And of course the Javelin dancing around against the Archer, you know, the Locust doing a great job at Epsilon. It just was enough for JGX to really make a statement here and come out strong, winning this 2-0.
Yeah, seen some comments in chat too about you know, stock mode and how that hurt EMP and so on. But guys, JGX is playing stock mechs too.
Yeah.
That's not, you know, this is a level playing field. And, you know, I like EMP. They're a really good team. They've got good guys on their team. I've liked meeting them the last 2 years, but they've got to play better if they want to make it to MechCon. To me, that was really surprising to see. But JGX came out. They knew what they were doing. They committed to it. The light mechs played amazing. I mean, Dario, again, in my opinion, could easily walk away with the MVP for both of those matches. Dario, you know, you're going to MechCon. I hope everyone gets you a pat on the back when they get to MechCon, because you basically put the team on your back and took them there with you on that Locust. I'm giving you props for that. So there you go, JGX. You know, buy Dario a drink when you get to Vancouver.
Greg Jennings putting the team on his back.
Yeah.
He didn't have a broken leg though. Oh man, I mean, what an exciting match though. And
it was exciting. Yeah.
You know, congratulations JGX winning that first seat. EmpyreaL not out of it yet. We've got EmpyreaL dropping down into the losers bracket, so they still have a chance to come back on this. Let's see here.
And I hate to say it, but if I'm the other teams in the losers bracket, I'm a little upset at what just happened here, because not only now are the defending champions going to be in that losers bracket, but if I were them, I'd be a little annoyed. Because you just played, you know, a team, you're defending champions, a team that you were favored to beat, probably. I mean, you know, there's no denying what they've done the last 2 years, and you got outplayed in a 2-0 decision. If I were EMP, I'd be a little annoyed, and if I'm in the loser bracket, I'm a little upset. You're going to see a side of the EMP that I think is going to play a lot better than what you saw here, and they're not out of it, but they have a much longer road to go now.
You think EMP is going to get angry, get serious, and start getting some kills?
I don't think it, get angry, get serious. If EMP wasn't serious in this round, then I don't know what to tell you. I mean, it's not like JGX is a pushover, right? And so I don't think it's a matter of getting serious, but I think EMP will sit back, reevaluate. They're going to practice, get better, and show us, that they still have it in them. And I think they're definitely, in my opinion, a team that in the losers bracket right now would be favored to do some damage. But they've like we said, you got a long road to go now, and it's just got a lot harder. There's a lot more room for error, or a lot less room for error, I should say. A lot more opportunities for error now for EMP. JGX, they get to sit back and relax.
Yeah, well, Phoenix Legion and Isengrim will be playing today. Loser goes home, winner moves on to face EmpyreaL, and I'm guarantee you they're probably watching right now. They saw what happened to EmpyreaL, and they're gonna have to, in one day's time, come up with something to be able to repeat that if they want to stay alive and win that spot in top 3. But EmpyreaL, they got some cleaning up to do. They've got a day to do it as well. And they're going to be able to watch this match 15, Phoenix Legion versus Isengrim. They're going to be able to see how that goes down, and they're going to start coming up with their own strats as well. I would not be surprised to see EmpyreaL still make it into top 3. They just got a little bit longer of a road to do it now.